Welcome to Daily Variety, your daily dose of news and analysis for entertainment industry insiders. It's Thursday, August 27th, 2026. I'm your host, Cynthia Littleton. I am co-editor-in-chief of Variety alongside Ramin Satuda. I'm in LA, he's in New York, and Variety has reporters around the world covering the business of entertainment. On today's episode, we are bringing the curtain down on the Daily Variety podcast. It has been a wild and wonderful 13-month ride across a little more than 200 episodes. I love learning new things, and in this past year, I have learned how to write a daily column in audio form. We will be evolving the Daily Variety format into our existing Strictly Business podcast franchise. I will explain how that's all going to work in just a moment. But before we get to that, here are a few headlines just in this morning that I think are signs of the times. Emmy Rossum and Elizabeth Merriweather have a hit on their hands. Furious, the buzzy Hulu drama about a female FBI agent who is hunting for a female serial killer, has been renewed for season 2. The show hails from 20th Television. Writer Rafe Judkins has struck an overall deal with Paramount Television Studios. The pact calls for Judkins to develop original scripted series for the banner. Judkins most recently created the Amazon series The Wheel of Time. Don't miss my colleague Michael Schneider's column that looks back 20 years ago at the Emmy Awards. That was the last time that broadcast TV shows claimed both Best Drama and Best Comedy Series trophies. Go read the column to find out which shows prevailed that night. All of these stories and so much more can be found on Variety.com right now. And now it's time to wrap up the run of Daily Variety. It's been a joyful year of learning new things and trying to understand how podcasting is changing business-to-business communications. To review the plan that we outlined earlier this week in Tuesday's episode, the Daily Variety brand will be retired after today. Long live Daily Variety. But we're not going away. We're going to lean into our long-standing Strictly Business podcast franchise that has been active since 2018. Strictly Business is and will remain a long-form interview show featuring the brightest minds in media and entertainment. Those episodes are released on Fridays, and that won't change. But after Labor Day, starting September 8th, we will introduce a new iteration called Strictly Business Daily. Those episodes will be akin to Daily Variety in that they will be newsy and 20 minutes or less. I'm going to put the emphasis on deals, transactions of note for the content business, and we are really going to work hard to shine a light in this very chaotic moment for media on vibrant emerging markets, including the creator economy and all of its related elements, the boom in vertical media, and the transformative revolution of AI. Focusing on deals will tell us where the money and the heat are today. Zeroing in on emerging markets will help us understand where the business is moving tomorrow. So to review, look for Strictly Business Daily episodes in your podcast feed starting on September 8th. Please make sure that you are subscribing to Variety's Strictly Business podcast. We launched a Daily Variety-only feed last year, but after today, that feed will no longer be updated. So please go to any podcast platform and search for Variety's Strictly Business. You can find it on iHeart Podcasts and every other place where podcasts are distributed. Going forward, we'll have Strictly Business Daily episodes a few times a week as news warrants, and we will maintain the Friday release day for the long-form Strictly Business interview. And of course, we will keep up the companion Strictly Business newsletter that features a calendar of events, charts, analysis exclusive to the newsletter, and a curated selection of the week's most important business stories. So again, please make sure you subscribe to Variety's Strictly Business podcast, and if you don't already get the free Strictly Business newsletter, please go to Variety.com and look for newsletter preferences to sign up. You'll be glad you did. We'll close out Daily Variety with a final Vintage Variety segment. Regular listeners might have guessed that these were among my favorite pieces to assemble. I am a lucky so-and-so to work for a brand that I revere so much. Variety isn't just a newspaper or a magazine. Variety is an irreplaceable chronicle of mass media as it evolved in the 20th century and beyond. To illustrate this point, I did a search in our digitized archives for I Love Lucy. That trailblazing show was back in the news last week because the Television Academy has created the I Love Lucy Award to honor programs with incredible legacies. A quick glance at our pages turns up so many gems that it was hard to pick out just a few stories on I Love Lucy. The sui generis value of Variety is the depth of our coverage. Looking over our pages in the year before I Love Lucy premiered on CBS on October 15, 1951, it's clear that the industry realized that this show was a big deal. It was a big bet for Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz, who were not only the stars but also the producers. It was a big swing for CBS, and it was a huge test for what was then the still fledgling medium of television. At a time when most entertainment shows were beamed out live from New York, I Love Lucy's innovation was to shoot on film. Before that, West Coast TV stations often had to wait days to carry shows that would be sent out to them on kinescopes. A kinescope was essentially a movie filmed from a TV screen, and they never looked great. The driver of all the innovation around I Love Lucy, by all accounts, was Desi Arnaz. But the Variety archives demonstrate that Arnaz was pushed in the direction of doing I Love Lucy on film by the demands of sponsor Philip Morris. Here's a clip that ran May 16, 1951. In classic Variety slanguage, the story explains that Philip Morris and its advertising agency Bio were pushing Lucy and Desi and CBS to find a solution that would look better and be more timely than a kinescope. Another complication that they had to deal with was the fact that Lucille Ball was very pregnant with her first child, Lucy Arnaz, at the time that I Love Lucy was coming together.
Client nixes Kinney on Lucy and Desi. Kinney on your side, or words to that effect were tossed at CBS this week when high in the councils of Philip Morris and Biao, the word got around that the upcoming Lucille Ball Desi Arnaz TV series would be Kinney-scoped for the cable. Net was told, we'll have none of that, after Columbians here were assured that the pill roller would hold still for what the scheme calls TVR, for TV recording. Even in the face of the improved quality of the Burns and Allen Young recordings, would the Biao-Morris affinity yield to the canned melodies and comics of Lucy and Desi? Original plan, according to CBS, was to have the family team kick off the series live in New York and then anchor in Hollywood. Presence of Miss Ball in Hollywood is both pressing and immediate. Motherhood impends, and so do picture commitments. Charles Tyler, exec for Biao on the Morris account, is in town to resolve the issue. In view of Biao's adamance against Kinney and the necessity of Miss Ball's Hollywood residence, all that remains is film, which is acceptable to Morris, though budget swelling to CBS, which owns the package.
Well, as we all know, they figured it out. A few months later, on August 29, 1951, Variety reported that the newly formed Desilu Productions had struck a deal for production space at General Service Studio in Hollywood on North Las Palmas. Today, it's the Sunset Las Palmas studio.
CBS signs to film Arnaz Ball VidPix at General Service. In what is probably the largest studio rental deal ever consummated in West Coast television, CBS and Desilu Corp. Have signed a contract with General Service calling for the production of 52 half-hour films in the Desi Arnaz Lucille Ball series, I Love Lucy. Rehearsal starts Saturday, filming next week. CBS execs had come here from New York to scout for prospective sites for the show and eyed several theaters as well as studios. James Nasser of General Services said yesterday the deal was probably the largest of its kind and predicted it may set a pattern for the future.
James Nasser was right. I Love Lucy did set a very important pattern for the future. TV needed to be on film to make it repeatable, and once television series were repeatable, episodes could be sold in syndication at great profit. That's all very clear now, but in the days leading up to the I Love Lucy launch, the industry was still wrapping their heads around what Lucy and Desi were up to. Variety helpfully tried to explain it succinctly in a one-line item that ran October 9th, 1951, in the Just for Variety column.
Referring to their new hybrid technique for I Love Lucy, Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz sum it up with the claim that the show is produced like a play, filmed like a movie, recorded like radio, and released as TV.
Ricky, we changed the business, and Variety covered it every step of the way, as we have on every major story in the entertainment business since this publication was founded in 1905. As we end Daily Variety, I want to thank my Variety colleagues past and present. There are too many on the contemporary masthead to name here, but every single person who works for Variety in some way has contributed to the making of this podcast. It has been my pleasure to showcase the smarts of my editorial colleagues and their great work. Thanks for listening. This episode was written and reported by me, Cynthia Littleton. Stick, snicks, hick, picks. I'm extremely grateful to everyone who embraced Daily Variety. Please stay tuned for insights, analysis, interviews, and the occasional corny turn of phrase that will be coming at you as of September 8th through Strictly Business Daily. And now we'll give the last word to another great lady of television, Carol Burnett.
I'm so glad we had this time together, just to have a laugh or sing a song. Seems we just get started, and before you know it, comes the time we have to say